Ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully because the message you are about to hear is not only about love, attraction, or someone who cannot stop thinking about you. This goes much deeper than simple feelings. This is about the invisible effect your presence can have on another person. It is about the energy you carry without even realizing it. It is about the way some people can feel your impact even when you are not standing in front of them. There are certain people who enter a room and immediately change the atmosphere around them. They do not need to speak loudly. They do not need to demand attention. Their presence alone creates a feeling that others notice. Some people carry a certain depth, a certain calmness, and a certain emotional strength that stays in the minds of others long after they are gone. This is the kind of presence that cannot be easily explained. It is not only about appearance, it is not only about charm, it is not only about the words someone says. Sometimes a person leaves an impression because of the way they make others feel. They leave behind an emotional memory, something that remains inside another person's thoughts, even when they try to move forward. There are people who smile at you, act normal around you, and appear completely unaffected. They may seem calm, they may appear distant, they may even behave as if they do not care. But behind that outer expression, their mind may continue returning to you again and again. They may remember small details about your conversations. They may replay moments that seemed ordinary at the time. They may think about the way you looked at them, the way you spoke, the way you carried yourself, or the feeling they experienced when they were around you. Sometimes a person does not understand why someone stays on their mind. They may try to distract themselves, they may focus on other things, they may tell themselves that it was nothing important, but the more they try to ignore the feeling, the more they become aware of its presence. And the reason behind this is often deeper than simple attraction. It is deeper than physical beauty. It is deeper than temporary excitement. The great psychologist Carl Jung understood something important about the human mind. People do not always connect with others only because of who that person is on the outside. Sometimes they connect because that person awakens something hidden within them. A person can become a symbol. A person can become a reflection. A person can become connected to emotions, dreams, desires, fears, and parts of the self that were buried for a long time. This is why someone can meet many people throughout their life, but only a few leave a powerful mark. Not everyone creates an emotional reaction. Not everyone touches something hidden inside another person's mind. But sometimes someone appears and creates a feeling that cannot be ignored. They become a question that remains unanswered. They become a memory that continues returning. They become a feeling that the other person cannot completely understand. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is that when someone cannot stop thinking about you, it is usually because something about your presence affected them in a way they did not expect. You reached a part of them that they were not prepared to face. Maybe you reminded them of something they lost. Maybe you showed them a type of connection they had never experienced before. Maybe you represented a version of life they secretly wished they could have. Maybe you made them feel understood in a way they were not used to. Whatever the reason, something inside them reacted, and when the human mind experiences something powerful, it does not simply erase it. The mind returns to what feels meaningful. It revisits moments that carry emotional weight. It searches for answers. It tries to understand why a certain person created such a strong reaction. That is why someone may think about you during quiet moments. They may remember you while driving alone. They may think about you late at night when distractions disappear. They may hear a song and suddenly feel connected to a memory of you. They may walk past a familiar place and instantly remember a conversation, a smile, or a moment you shared. These moments may seem random, but they reveal something deeper. The mind stores emotional experiences differently from ordinary events. What creates a strong feeling often stays longer. This is where obsession can begin. Not always with dramatic actions, not always with a confession. Sometimes it begins quietly. It begins with a moment, a look, a conversation, a feeling that entered their life and never completely left. Carl Jung spoke about the unconscious mind and the hidden parts of ourselves that influence our thoughts, choices, and emotions. Much of what people feel is shaped by things they do not fully understand. When someone becomes deeply focused on another person, there is often something happening beneath the surface. They are not only seeing that person as they truly are, they are also responding to what that person represents. You may represent freedom to someone who feels trapped. You may represent peace to someone who lives with constant inner conflict. You may represent confidence to someone who struggles with insecurity. You may represent a kind of love or connection they always wanted but never knew how to find. Sometimes people become attached not only to the person in front of them, but to the emotions that person awakens inside them. This is why some people are not only attracted to your appearance, they become attached to your energy. They become attached to the way they feel when they are around you. They remember the comfort. They remember the excitement. They remember the feeling of being noticed. They remember the version of themselves that appeared when they were with you. And that memory can become powerful. A person may try to act as if everything is normal. They may tell others that they have moved on. They may even convince themselves that they no longer care. But deep inside, the memory remains. It sits quietly in the background of their mind. It appears during moments of silence. It returns when they least expect it. Because unfinished emotional experiences have a way of demanding attention. And this is something important to understand. The stronger your sense of self, the more powerful your presence can become in the mind of someone who was not prepared for it. When you do not chase people for validation, you become more memorable. When you do not constantly explain yourself, you create curiosity. When you do not beg someone to recognize your value, your absence can speak louder than your words. There is something deeply attractive about a person who knows their worth. A person who can love deeply but still maintain boundaries. A person who can care without losing themselves. A person who can walk away when something no longer respects their energy. Many people are used to receiving constant attention. They are used to others trying to prove their value. They are used to having easy access to someone's emotions. But when they meet someone who is calm, confident, and emotionally independent, it creates a different experience. They cannot understand why they feel drawn back. They cannot understand why they keep wondering. They cannot understand why the person they thought they could easily forget continues appearing in their thoughts. The human mind does not like unanswered questions. It does not like incomplete stories. It does not like situations where there is no clear ending. When something remains unresolved, the mind continues returning to it. It opens the same emotional door again and again, searching for meaning. It asks what was real. It asks what was missed. It asks why that person created such a powerful impact. And this is why obsession often grows where certainty disappears. When someone feels they cannot completely understand you, they may think about you even more. When someone feels they had something valuable but failed to appreciate it, they may become attached to the memory of it. When someone realizes your importance only after distance appears, the emotional impact can become much stronger. Because sometimes people do not fully recognize the value of something while it is always available. They understand it when the energy changes. They understand it when the attention decreases. They understand it when the person who was always there suddenly becomes quiet. And that silence creates a moment of reflection. They begin remembering, they begin questioning, they begin wondering what they lost. And slowly, what was once a simple memory can transform into deep longing. There is another layer to this that is important to understand. Sometimes the person who is secretly obsessed with you is not even fully aware of what is happening inside them. They may not call it obsession. They may describe it as curiosity. They may say it is concern. They may believe it is just a simple interest or a passing thought. But when you look deeper, beyond the words they use, you begin to notice a pattern. You notice that their mind keeps returning to the same place. You notice that their attention keeps moving back toward you. You notice an emotional attachment that has grown stronger than logic can explain. And that is what obsession truly is. It is when the mind returns again and again, even when a person tries to move forward. It is when the heart stays connected longer than someone wants to admit. It is when another person becomes part of your inner world, even when you never planned for that to happen. The reason they cannot stop thinking about you is often because you touched something deeper than attraction. You touched their identity. You made them look at themselves in a way they were not prepared for. You made them question who they really are. You made them notice what they are missing. You made them recognize what they desire. You revealed what they admire. You reminded them of what they fear losing. You brought attention to the things they regret not doing. Some people become deeply attached to the person they lost. Some become focused on the person they once underestimated. Some cannot forget the person who loved them with honesty and sincerity. Some become consumed by the person who had the courage to say no. Some struggle to release the person who walked away peacefully and chose their own dignity. In every situation, there is often an emotional wound connected to it. The human ego does not like rejection. It does not like losing control. It does not like facing something it cannot own or command. So the mind begins to create a symbol. The person becomes more than just a person. They become a reminder. They become a representation of something missing, something desired, or something unfinished. The memory grows larger. The meaning becomes stronger. The person remains alive in the imagination because they represent an emotional experience that was never fully understood. And this is why some people cannot truly move on. They are not only attached to you, they are attached to the version of themselves that existed when they were around you. They remember how they felt. They remember who they became. They remember the emotions you awakened inside them. Listen carefully. Your presence can teach people things that their own thoughts cannot explain. Someone may not remember every word you said. They may not remember every conversation or every small detail, but they remember how they felt around you. They remember the atmosphere. They remember the emotions. They remember the sense of being understood, challenged, inspired, or awakened. A person may forget what happened on a specific day, but they rarely forget how someone made their inner world feel. They may not understand why they are drawn back to you. They may not have a clear explanation for why your memory continues to appear, but the feeling remains. This is why some connections are so difficult to release. They are not created only through conversations or shared experiences. They are created through emotional resonance. Resonance is the invisible connection between two people when something inside one person recognizes something inside another. It creates the feeling that an encounter meant something. It creates the sense that something important happened, even if the mind cannot fully explain it. A person may feel obsessed without understanding why. Their conscious mind may be confused, but their deeper unconscious mind remembers. It remembers the impact. It remembers the emotion. It remembers that the connection was not meaningless. It remembers that something real was experienced. And perhaps this is where the teachings of Carl Jung give us one of the deepest lessons. Every powerful attachment we experience outside of ourselves can become an invitation to look within. When someone becomes deeply focused on you, the story is not only about you and them, it is also about the hidden parts of themselves that are being revealed. What are they searching for when they think about you? What part of themselves are they trying to find again? What pain are they trying to heal through your memory? What dream or desire are they placing onto you? What truth about themselves are they avoiding? Sometimes the answer is uncomfortable. Sometimes a person becomes obsessed because you reminded them of a type of love they never fully experienced. Sometimes you represented emotional stability and wholeness that they have been searching for. Sometimes you became a reminder of their loneliness. Sometimes your presence showed them a part of life they felt they were missing. And sometimes they are simply drawn toward your energy because your presence feels rare. Your confidence, your authenticity, and your way of seeing the world make everything around them feel different. Not every obsession comes from sadness. Not every attachment comes from pain. But every obsession reveals something. Every intense reaction tells a story about what exists beneath the surface. Now bring this understanding back to yourself. You may not see everything happening behind closed doors. You may not know every thought someone has about you. You may not understand the full effect your presence has created. But you should understand one thing. Your presence has an impact. Do not underestimate the way you affect people. Do not reduce your value because someone else does not know how to handle it. Do not question your importance simply because someone failed to recognize how meaningful you were. Your energy leaves an impression. Your absence can create questions. Your silence can create reflection. Your growth can force others to look at themselves. Your confidence can inspire admiration. Your authenticity can awaken feelings that someone tried to ignore. You are not here to be easily accepted by everyone. You are here to be real. And real things leave marks. Real things stay in memory. Real things remain in the heart. The person thinking about you may not even realize how deeply it has affected them. They may try to appear normal while their mind continues returning to you. They may fill their days with distractions, but your memory still finds a way to return. They may surround themselves with noise, but they still remember your silence. They may meet new people, but they may still compare those experiences to what they felt with you. They may continue living their life while quietly wondering what you are doing, what you are feeling, and who you are becoming. Why does this happen? Because your presence was not only social, it was emotional, it was psychological, it became connected to meaning. You became associated with moments where they felt alive, understood, challenged, excited, uncertain, or deeply seen. And emotions connected to meaning do not disappear quickly. They return in waves, they appear in dreams, they come back during quiet moments. They surface when something reminds them of what they experienced with you. And every time those feelings return, the connection can become stronger unless the person consciously understands and resolves what they are feeling. There are people who will never openly admit how much they think about you. They may be too proud to confess it. They may be too afraid to reveal their emotions. They may be too confused by their own feelings. They may still be carrying unresolved conflicts inside themselves. But silence can also communicate something. The hesitation can reveal something. The repeated attention can reveal something. The hidden curiosity can reveal something. The inability to completely disconnect can reveal something. When you understand human behavior, you begin to notice these signs. You begin to recognize when someone has moved beyond a simple memory and when your presence has become deeply connected to their emotional world. This is not about creating an ego or believing that everyone is thinking about you. It is about understanding human nature. People are affected by what touches them deeply. The mind remembers what changes it. The heart holds on to what creates meaning. And people rarely forget the person who changed the feeling of their inner world. But understand this clearly. Not everyone who thinks about you is someone who is good for you. Not everyone who feels strongly about you is someone who is capable of loving you in a healthy and mature way. Some people can be deeply attracted to you, but still not be ready for you. Some people can feel attached to you, but still not have the emotional growth required to treat you properly. Some people can admire your light while still being unable to respect the person carrying it. Some people are drawn to your energy because they want comfort from their own pain, not because they understand how to protect your heart. So if you feel that someone cannot stop thinking about you, do not immediately assume it means destiny. Do not automatically believe it means true love. Do not confuse intensity with safety. Sometimes it is admiration. Sometimes it is regret. Sometimes it is longing. Sometimes it is desire. Sometimes it is a wounded part of someone searching for something in you that they have not found within themselves. The important question is not only whether someone thinks about you. The deeper question is whether they can meet you with honesty, respect, emotional maturity, and genuine care. Because a mind that is obsessed is not always a heart that is prepared. Carl Jung would remind us that the greatest journey is not simply being wanted by others. The greatest journey is becoming conscious. Conscious of your own value, conscious of your patterns, conscious of the energy you attract, conscious of the emotions you awaken in others, conscious of what you allow into your life and what you refuse to accept. This is where your true power exists. Not in the obsession of another person, not in their hidden thoughts, not in their unspoken feelings. Your power exists in your ability to remain centered within yourself. When you truly understand your worth, You stop begging people to recognize you. You stop reducing yourself to make others comfortable. You stop chasing explanations from people who only create confusion. You become someone who can be remembered without needing to be possessed. You become someone who can be admired from a distance while still remaining free. You become someone who can be missed deeply while continuing to choose yourself. And that kind of freedom is rare. That kind of self-respect is powerful. So remember this. If someone cannot stop thinking about you, it may be because you awakened something meaningful inside them. It may be because your presence touched a hidden wound. It may be because you represented a dream they forgot. It may be because you reminded them of a truth they were avoiding. It may be because your silence carried more meaning than the words they were used to hearing. It may be because your standards challenged their comfort. It may be because your authenticity revealed something they had been hiding from themselves. Some people are unforgettable because they bring something real into another person's life. But never lose yourself in the idea of being someone else's obsession. Do not build your identity around the attention of another person. Build it around your own growth. Be loyal to your own journey. Be committed to your own becoming. Let others think. Let others wonder. Let others remember. Let others reflect on what they lost or what they failed to appreciate. Your responsibility is to continue moving forward, because the strongest person is not the one who is constantly desired. The strongest person is the one who can be remembered without being controlled. The strongest person is the one who can be loved without losing themselves. The strongest person is the one who can be admired without needing approval. That is your true power. That is your true presence. That is the mystery of a person who knows themselves. This is the kind of presence that Carl Jung would describe as deeply symbolic and transformative. So if someone secretly thinks about you, understand that it says something about the impact you created. But allow your life to become greater than their thoughts. Allow your purpose to become greater than their silence. Allow your future to become greater than their memories. And allow your self-respect to become louder than any hidden desire someone may have for you. You were never created to be a temporary thought. You were never created to be someone people remember only for a moment. You were created to leave an impression. You were created to represent something meaningful. You were created to carry a presence that cannot be easily ignored. You were not born to chase attention. You were born to embody something authentic. You were not born to reduce your light so others can feel comfortable in their darkness. You were born to shine in a way that reveals truth, and truth always creates a reaction. Truth challenges what is false. Truth exposes what has been hidden. Truth awakens emotions that people try to bury. Truth brings unfinished feelings back to the surface. That is why some people cannot stop thinking about you. You made them feel something. You made them see something. You made them remember something. You made them face something they were trying to avoid. And that is not a small impact. So carry yourself with grace. Carry yourself with strength. Carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who understands that being deeply felt is a gift, but being controlled by another person's feelings is never the purpose. Let other people carry the responsibility of understanding their own emotions. You do not need to shrink because someone is confused by your presence. You do not need to apologize for being memorable. You do not need to explain why your energy stays with someone. The right people will recognize you with peace, not obsession. The right hearts will approach you with clarity, not confusion. The right connection will not make you feel like a mystery that needs to be solved. It will make you feel like a person who deserves to be valued. Until that kind of connection arrives, continue rising, continue healing, continue growing, continue becoming the person you were meant to be, because the more aware you become, the less likely you are to confuse obsession with love. The more you respect yourself, the less power someone else's fixation has over you. The more you honor your own soul, the more you understand why you were unforgettable in the first place. You were never meant to be ordinary in the eyes of everyone. You were meant to awaken something. And once something inside a person has been awakened, some people can never return to the same version of themselves again.